still waiting here. Record store day. I don't know. Look at that. Just 3 weeks away, I think. So I'm still. Yep, I'm first in line. It's working out really good. Obviously, I can't have an early morning broadcast this week because I'd have to get up and get out of line. So I'll do a pre-recorded thing. But it was a cold week. It's still kind of cold. Yep, I had an animal ripped up my jeans. It might have been possibly a wild rabbit, squirrel, or my cat might have found me. Maybe that was it. I don't know. But I'm doing pretty good. If you're worried, I have some snacks. I have some peanuts and I got a granola bar. This should last me a little while, I think. Took me my wife 3 days to notice I was gone, but then when she did, she gave me a call and she brought me those snacks. So I thought that was good. I was just really hungry those first 3 days. So I'm just going to wait here. I want to give a shout out to Depends undergarments. They're quite comfortable and very fashionable, and I just think that's awesome from them. They've really improved. So yeah, still first. No one's tried to get my spot, so I'm looking pretty good right now. Just 3 more weeks to go. My beard's coming in, and you know, what are you going to do? I can't go shave. So thanks everyone for tuning in, and I look forward for an early morning show about a month from now. Cheers. And welcome and good morning to your weekly early morning Sunday show. And I guess I'm your host because there's nobody else that woke up in my house, so that would make me it. So thanks for coming in. First, I've had a channel for a year. I was going to throw confetti, but if I threw confetti, I'd have to clean it up, and that kind of would have sucked. So hey, that's the way it is. So there you go. It's a year. Yay! All right. Nothing big planned on that one. I'm going to do another room tour. That's what I'm going to do. It's been a year since I've done a room tour. I've done some different things, added some different things. Is it architecturally different? No. More cabinets? Yes. Why? Because of you. So that's what we're going to do on that. So I'm kind of excited about that. I'm missing my co-host today. He decided to go outside, and he's still out there, probably trying to kill a possum or a rabbit. Better to kill that than me. You know, last week I didn't know that I was even bleeding, but you all did. You all. Melinda Murphy, I kind of blame you for you all. You all knew I was bleeding. So it adds more excitement though, doesn't it? Is he going to notice? Is he going to bleed out? Is he going to drop dead? I don't know. I have not that excitement this week, so sorry. All right, what you're listening to, what will be in the background today is a group called Sonido, Gallo, Negro. And these guys are out of Mexico City. Is that not just the neatest kind of cover art there? This is from 2014, Sendero Mystico. And we'll talk a little bit more about them in just a minute. So, got, as usual, about 10 things I've listened to. I'd like to say I listened to them the last week, but my stack of stuff I've listened to is like this. I just pick out of it to give to you what might be interesting. But I have a lot of new vinyl, some of the new stuff this week, along with some really old stuff. So in other words, I think I am going from the 60s all the way up to this year. So let's start the newest thing. This is already making its way on the VC. You've been seeing it. Someone put the hold on. So this is the first one that I'm going to show today, and someone put a comment on my Facebook. Eyes, raise the eyes, raise the eyes. So hey, there you go. So this is Jenny Lewis's new album. I really like Jenny Lewis. Everyone, she was in Rival Kylie. That was one of my favorite groups. This is her 4th solo album. She also did albums called with Johnny and Jenny. She, she's getting older. I guess she was born in '76, and she was a big child actor. She did Jello. Her first commercials were for Jello, and so was Bill Cosby did commercials for Jello. Well, let's just, we won't go into all that. But So this came out. It just was released on the 22nd. It has a real Laurel Canyon feel to it, I would say. This gal's a songwriter, and she really makes beautiful songs, and for women, you know, obviously she does it from a woman's point of view, and they sound great. It's really interesting. She has songs in here about girls wasting their time. When she talks about that, it's on the phone doing stuff, Candy Crush. She has songs about, you know, there's one about a girl who's just trying to please her boyfriend, wears a see-through dress, and then finds on his phone he's looking at other women. And there's ones about drugs, you know, getting involved with drugs. I mean, it's really beautiful. The drummer's Jim Keltner, except on one song, Jim Keltner and Ringo Starr play together on drums. Beck produces 3 of these. Ryan Adams had his hand in this. So somehow it seems like they didn't get along well, or there was drama. Gotta love an album with drama. It was a beautiful album. I really like it. If you like to rock out, probably not going to be it. If you like to hear someone that tells a good story, it probably will be it. It did come. So here we go, ready? A poster. And then we go back down the other way. I got this one off of Amazon, so it is just black vinyl. I guess at the independent stores you can get them, and they are on beautiful colored vinyl. Should have known that. So Jenny Lewis, her brand new one just came out. One's kind of a fun one. Remember the great Amazon experiment where they kept sending me the wrong things? Well, one of the ones they sent me wrong was carbon-based Lifeforms, derelicts. This is like, what the hell is that album? No idea. And a lot of you wrote to me and said, that's a great album. You need to keep that. It's really, really good. And the album that I got charged for was super cheap. This was kind of expensive, so yeah, it worked out. I did buy this. So carbon-based Lifeforms, obviously they like keys on their computers. This is a Swedish duo. Formed in 1996, and the gentlemen were only 15 years old when they formed. And, oh, let me think of their names here. Johannes Hedenberg and David Segerstad. It's, you know what, I can pronounce Spanish better than I can anything else. Well, these guys formed it when they were 15 years old in 1996, and this is their 9th album. It's very ambient, okay? It's chill, it's kicked back. It's actually quite beautiful. I did really enjoy this album, and you know, the labels, there's not much there. Beautiful black vinyl. It was good stuff. I am doing, probably already noticed there was a needle drop on Jenny Lewis. We'll do a needle drop on this one too, and I'll see what you think about it. But for me, it was just relaxing music. I could just put my heels up, can take a nap to it. Yes, I'm the guy that falls asleep to music. Why? Because I just do. This came out in 2018. So here is that group again, Sonido, Gallo, Negro. And this one is called Mambo Cosmico. Isn't That's just neat stuff. This group is out of Mexico City. There was a podcast, a radio station, KMEX, something like that. They're on YouTube. And they spent a week in Mexico City playing artists, obviously from Mexico City. And I like the Latin sound, as many of you know, so I watched that. And this is a 9-piece group that came out. They were formed in 2011. They based their music on Peruvian Cumbria music, and that was in the 1960s. It was the psychedelic music that came out of Peru, and I believe Lionel Richie has shown some of that, or has picked up some of that stuff, and some of you others have also. So here's the stew. Okay, so you bring your big pot. If you want to explain this, it's part psychedelic, it's part surf music, it would be part spaghetti western, and then you added Mexican influences, Latin American and Middle Eastern influences, and you get this band. Again, it's a 9-piece band. You got congas, you got organs, you have guitars. It's pretty much all instrumental, and you know, it's what you hear in the background. I really enjoyed this group, and so I went. I couldn't find much on vinyl on Amazon, but they did have this one, and I've been really enjoying it, plus that CD that you're hearing in the background. And we'll play a track off this one too. So Sonido Gallo Negro, it means black rooster sound is how it would translate. Black rooster sound. Fun stuff. Just something completely different, some great music, but you definitely hear a little, it has that 60s vibe going on with it, but yet you got this percussion, it's bam, 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 cowbells, that's the one. It has cowbells. I kind of like the cowbell. Someday I'm going to be in a band and I get the cowbell. All right, next one, really delighted. And I saw this shown, it might have been Dean Grandma's Handbag, it might have been Vinyl Douche, maybe it was someone else, and I apologize. I had ordered it, and they've gotten in theirs already. Lunafied. I'm a huge, big Dean Wareham fan, but also a giant Luna fan. But one of my favorite groups, Rolling Stone, called this the greatest band that no one's ever heard. And if dream pop is your thing, then you're crazy if you don't own Luna. And you know, I got it all in CD. These guys, Dean Wareham started as Galaxy 500, and they've done a reissue on Galaxy 500. I don't have any of their, actually I just bought something of theirs in vinyl. It looks like their last one they made, probably not that great. But it, you know, Galaxy 500 was in the 80s, and again, it was more this dream pop kind of stuff. And then in 92, they got, it formed Luna. So this is all covers that they've done on various singles, you know, B-side singles, or on some EPs. It's really fascinating, some of the covers that they do. Bonnie and Clyde from Serge Gainsbourg, I'm sure I said that one wrong, is on here. We have a Dream Baby Dream, which is done by Suicide in the Flesh from Blondie. Season of the Witch by Donovan. Thanks for Sending Me an Angel. That's a Talking Head cover on here. Neon Lights is from Kraftwerk. Only Women Bleed from Alice Cooper. You can see some of them on there. Isn't that just an eclectic group? So they take these songs and they make them their own. It sounds wonderful. It's just, these songs become dream pop. And the one that I'll be playing on here, they did Sweet Child of Mine. Wow, from Guns N' Roses. I love their version of this. It is just one of my favorite versions. When that thing came out, I mean, I put that baby onto my iPod right away, and I played the heck out of it. So, Lunafied, and it's Sweet Child of Mine, and I do think that for those loving the vinyl, it came in a white colored vinyl. What was nice is I did buy this off the Luna site, and they go, if you would like autograph, let us know. So when I ordered it, there was a comment section, and I just wrote on there, I would like to have it autographed. And sure as heck, it came in, and Dean has signed that. Now I have a couple other albums. Those there are signed by Luna, by the full band, and this one was signed by Dean. So, exciting stuff. Bought this one at a record show. One of my favorite groups. I had never seen it before. The Replacements. And this is their farewell gig. This is the final one. By this time, they weren't digging each other. I believe one of the Stinson brothers was already dead, had died. Wonderful mid-Minneapolis group. Someone I really got into the 80s. You know, they were sloppy. They were just crude. As they got older, though, you know, they really began to refine themselves. And this one sounds really good. Again, it has a lot of their later stuff on here, you know. But then you also have things like Hootenanny, I'll Be You, and Waitress in the Sky. Just a very fun album, and I picked this up at a record show here. And it was a broadcast, an FM broadcast from July 4th, 1991. So for those that like the Replacements, if you want a pretty good live album, that one's it. Of their later stuff, again, it's not nearly as sloppy as their early albums, but that's what they were about. It was about being sloppy. How about some quirk? You like a little quirk in your music? These guys, this is pure quirk, the Sparks. And this is their first album. I have a lot of Sparks music. I do. I got into them. I saw them on American Bandstand in the mid-70s. I mean, my older brother, and go, what the heck is these guys about? It's when their Propaganda album came out. So I didn't have the first album, so I found this one. So, you know, the Sparks, it's two brothers. It's Ron and Russell Mael here. And they weren't born in LA, but they were living out in LA, and they decided to form a band. They didn't want anything to do with folk music. They found folk music was too sedate and too cerebral. They were more into the English bands, and I would have to say the Kinks, because these guys are just kind of crazy. They have a heck of a cult following. So they started off, the name of the band was called Half Nelson. And it caught the ears of Todd Rundgren. So Todd Rundgren signed him to his Bearville label. And there you go, Bearville label. And the first album came out titled Half Nelson. It just sunk. No one gave a darn. I don't think their mom even bought it. I just didn't do anything. So Warner Brothers, though, took an interest in them, kind of liked it, so they came in and they helped finance to reissue it again, but they had to change the name, and they changed it to The Sparks. And it did have one small hit called Wonder Girl on there that came out with it. It did much better with that. But these guys became big over in Europe, and they took a tour of Britain, and Britain embraced them. Must have been because they, you know, their love of British rock. And they never really did a lot in the U.S. Yeah, they had some hits, but wasn't that huge in Britain. My God. big time group. So this is their first one, The Sparks. Pure quirky music. If you like it that way, if you just like kind of a weird stuff, this is it. I've always enjoyed them. We got a little Ian Hunter next. I bought this, I just saw that album cover. I didn't even see it was Ian Hunter, but there he is. And that just kind of caught my attention. This came out in 1975. It's Ian Hunter's first album. You know, he was done with Mott the Hoople, and he wrote a song with Mick Ronson, David Bowie's guitar. So the song was Once Bitten, Twice Shy. We'll put a little snippet on there of that. Well, he would have done more of Mick Ronson on this album, but he couldn't stand Mick Ronson's manager, which was Tony DeFries. Hunter hated him, but later on, these guys actually did quite a bit of music together until Mick Ronson died. Fun first solo album. I had a couple of his other albums, but I'd never seen the solo one. I'm sure it's been out there, but I just never have looked at it. So really enjoyed this one. You know, he produced Generation X's album, Into the Valley of the Dolls, which I found was kind of interesting. So Ian Hunter, glad to add that one on. Next one, got two for you, and it's just, this is common stuff, but I just didn't have it. We have The Very Best of the Ventures, and we have Golden Greats of the Ventures. Wouldn't you think one would have been enough? But of course I forgot I bought one. I bought another one. I bought one from a friend of mine, Bill Young, and I bought another one in a record store. You know, Ventures, these guys, what could you say? These, it was all about the surf music. They started in 1958. To this day, they're huge in Japan. By 1970 in the U.S., they were done. They pretty much died out. You know, they'd play around. Japan absolutely loved these guys, and they stayed big. You know, they had such, you know, they did like Tequila, Walk, Don't Run, Hawaii 5-0. You know, the Ventures were also known, I kind of always think of Ramsey Lewis and jazz, but the Ventures with this genre is take other hit songs and they made them their own. They played them the Venture way. You know, purely was all instrumental type stuff. They originally were going to call themselves the Versatones. The two main members was Dan Wilson and Bob Boggle. And so they're going to call themselves the Versatones. That was taken. So, you know, they're kind of, you know, what should we call ourselves? They're sitting around, and all of a sudden Dan Wilson's mom goes, well, honey, maybe you should just call yourself the Ventures. And kids, any kids watching, that's why you listen to your mom and dad. They know the cool names and what's going to take off. And thanks to, you know, Dan's mom, they call themselves the Ventures. Final one. Jan and Dean. Got this one from my buddy Bill Young at Michigan Vinyl, at Michigan Record Club. I don't know Jan and Dean, and I like Jan and Dean, but every time I find them, they're always in bad shape, kind of like the Ventures. And I finally I think I know why so much of this vinyl's all scratched. Back when we were young, our turntables, which weren't anything great, but we had a long spindle on them. And you stacked your records up on there, 45s, 33s, but you stacked them. So when you played, it would just keep playing. You didn't have to get up, put on a different record album. It was so much easier. So it's playing the one. It's ready, so it's ready for, that one's over. The arm moves over. The next one, turntable spinning, the next record falls right on top of that. You know, those two albums, as they collide, one's not spinning, one is spinning. You know that's got to make a scratch. That has to scuff it. And I'm sure that's why so many of these are scuffed, because they'd be used in parties and things. And so it had to mess them up. This one is on Liberty label there. So Jan and Dean was William Jan Berry and Jean Grassley Torrance, I believe. I could be saying it wrong. Sorry, I just can't remember it. You know, the only thing I really always found interesting, so Jan's dad worked for Howard Hughes, and he worked on the Grey Goose project. Now, the Grey Goose was the biggest airplane ever made. Howard Hughes wanted this plane. It had to be made. And to this day, there has been no bigger plane ever made. So Jan's dad was the project manager, and when it was finally done, Howard Hughes flew that plane because Howard Hughes was an accomplished pilot, and Jan's dad flew on it with him. It flew one time only, and that was it. Howard Hughes is a quirky guy. If you ever want to read check out one of his biographies. Pretty fascinating stuff. So I did pick this up. These guys were the pioneer of the California sound. They really were. When I say that, it's especially of the vocal, because they took, that surf music. Well, it was all about surf to them, and the Beach Boys popularized it. But these guys really got the California sound going. So great pickups. All right, there we have it, folks. Thank you once again. Thank you for all those, all the subscribers, 700 and some of you. Appreciate you tuning in, almost every Sunday and watching this for the last year. When I do, like I said, I'll do maybe a year room tour. We'll do some call outs. Some folks have really helped me a lot, but obviously this has been rebroadcast because in real time right now I'm sleeping out front of the record store. Appreciate everyone dropping by. You all have a great weekend and a fantastic week. Thanks.